Why is this show called this, you may ask? So I'll tell you. The accepted meaning of angel is messenger, and the accepted meaning of destiny is to make, firm, establish. So my guests and I bring you messages to establish what you need to know in the present. And also, I like working with angels and the calmness they bring. Now, in a moment, I will introduce you to my wonderful guest, Caroline Cooper. But before that, I'd like to say thank you so much for watching the show live at a later date, as it means a lot to me to connect with like-minded women. Now, if you've never met me before, then my name is Rae, and I love to help women to crossroads in their life, heal their past, create their future, and transform their present so they can take charge of their destiny in the here and now. I'm the founder of Radiant Angel Energy, and I use future life progression, past life regression, guided meditation, angelic Reiki, angel oracle cards, and hypnosis to help women who feel lost get clear on their reason for being here. And I've also created a transformational journey to help you take charge of your destiny and a journey through the lifetimes. Now, each episode of the show will cover various themes of your journey, a mini guided meditation or angel oracle card reading, with the wisdom of my wonderful guests, like today's guest, Caroline Cooper. Now, Caroline is a natural intuitive, an educator. She's previously a maths teacher, now a personal development educator. She's a body whisperer, an author and creator and facilitator of the 7-step writing program, Let's Write Together, which was developed through her own journey of unlocking her writer within. Now, Caroline's journey had many twists and turns that led her to something she never thought she would do, and that was not only becoming a published author with 8 pieces in 4 community book projects, but assist other women in getting their books written. With testimonials such as Caroline employs the highest caliber of skills in writing and her own style of facilitation and mentoring to bring out the writer in you, as well as Caroline is great at helping you move beyond the mental barriers that can create writer's block and any other obstacles to your writing success. The proof was in the results, free-flowing words that made sense and I loved. So without further delay, hello Caroline and welcome to the Ancient Destiny Show. How are you today?
Hello, and thank you for having me. And yes, I'm really good. I'm really feeling quite excited.
Brilliant. So before we get into this fascinating conversation, I want to remind you that you can also ask questions, leave comments and thoughts, as both Caroline and I want to be part of this conversation. So please don't be shy. So Caroline, why don't you tell us more about your journey, its twists and turns, and how we can unlock the writer within?
Oh yes, twists and turns, and interesting. You talk about destiny as well, because I just wonder. Sometimes you think you know what your destiny is, and other times it's like, wow, what happened to it? Where did it go? Because I started off training as an infant teacher because I didn't believe that I was capable of teaching the older ones. It's like, no, I didn't have the confidence. And but again, that's where life took twists and turns, because yes, I trained as an infant teacher, didn't get a post, and I actually got married. And if I had gone back to my own county, my own hometown, I'd have got a teaching post there. But I ended up living in a different area. But I then got a job that actually I was able to get day release to get my degree in maths. And that was something I'd never thought I was capable of getting a degree. So, I got my degree in maths, which is a subject that I just loved. And I was working with a group of engineers at the time, and I enjoyed it. And then I had my children, but there was still that yearning to teach. I would envisage, teaching, and there was that passion, that pull. How am I going to, teach? But I ended up setting up a play group when my children were small, and so again there was that working with children, and somehow it just seemed impossible that I would ever get a teaching post. But I fell into taking on some supply work in a secondary school. Just that accident, just needed at that particular moment of time, they needed some supply teachers. I just went, okay, let's do it. I'm not trained at that age group, and every time I went, I was like, oh my God, what am I doing? What am I doing? It was like all I seemed to be doing was sitting and containing these children. And I remember being told, well, if that's what that's what you do, that's great, because that's really all that we're expecting you to do. And I'm going, really? But it ended up that because I'd got my degree in maths, I then started thinking about that, and I ended up actually getting a job in a secondary school as a maths teacher.
Wow.
You know, how did that happen?
Were you one of those scary maths teachers? I always thought maths teachers were scary.
Yeah, I think so. You didn't mess with Mrs. Cooper.
I don't think you ever messed with any maths teachers.
No. But I do know my children, because they actually end up going to the same secondary school that I taught at eventually. And they said, I think, although it made it tough in some ways for them, they did say it made it easier because I had a good reputation as being a good teacher. I was fair, I was stern, I was, wasn't to be messed with, but I was fair. And yeah, and I enjoyed it. I never saw me ever leaving teaching. But again, life took its own twists and turns. I ended up actually being head of department, which that in itself was a step that it was like I always seemed to jump in at the deep end and I'd sink or swim. And I'd never had any training or in responsibility or any points of responsibility. I just went, they needed a head of department, and I jumped in. And it was a trying time then, because I had member of staff went off sick for a year. I had the school itself went into special measures. It was tough, and it really brought out all my insecurities, And when I look back, as much as it seemed like a nightmare at the time, I learned a lot, a huge amount, and I can go back to it. And I've done a lot of healing around that time and learning from it and growing from it. But my youngest daughter actually struggled with learning, and it was through her struggle that I found something called educational kinesiology and brain gym. And again, how do you know? Something just happens. I found I'd heard about brain gym, and I'd heard about it, and I just saw it as it was a course that you went on to learn about it. And literally I went, it was at the Christmas time, and I went into this natural therapies centre, and just to get some oils. And I just happened to see a leaflet, and I went, oh, brain gym, can you just have a consultation with someone? Or is it a complete course? And they went, oh no, you can have that. No, here's David Hubbard. And he literally came out in that moment to get something for a client. I literally had a 1-minute conversation with him about what I'd been observing with my daughter. And he went, I can help. And I went, right, book me an appointment. And from the January to the May, because she was in year 11 at the time, she let me sit in on all of the sessions. And the change in her was just amazing. From this angry, rebellious child who, I was like, where's my daughter gone? Didn't want to sit her exams because she thought she was going to fail every single one, to somebody who was confident, happy, sat them, passed them all. And then the following year, I was talking to her on the phone, and she said, Mum, I wish I could sit my exams again because I know I could do better.
Oh, wow.
Or sit my GCSEs again. And in this year that she was in afterwards, she was actually on another course getting merits and distinctions in her work. I just had to know more,
Yeah.
But as a parent who was stuck and just didn't know how to support my child to see that change happen, I was in tears most times. It was just like, whoa, what is this? So, and again, the universe decided at that moment in time they were going to fund inset training differently. Just that 1 year,
Of course.
I got the brain gym course funded for me. You know,
Excellent.
I know. Isn't it just amazing? So I went on this 4-day, it's 2 weekends. I came bouncing back in again, and they're going, "What are you on?" And I go, "I don't know, but this is brilliant." But I literally hit this mountain of resistance because I couldn't explain it. And I used it with my students, brain gym activities that just help take away the stress of learning,
Yeah.
help you to focus. And as I say, the shift that was happening, just doing 4 particular activities, which we call PACE, which help you to be positive, active, clear, and energetic. And it's that preparation to learn. So you're in that learning state. And that's all I did with my classes. And the change was amazing. But as I say, I couldn't explain it. And there was this year 11 top set who were coming up to their exams who kept wanting it to be handheld. And I was just thinking, I said, I can't hold your hand in the exam. You know,
Yeah.
you can do this. But they were just, somehow they didn't have that confidence. And so this one day, I had them in the morning and I had them in the afternoon. And after the morning lesson, I just thought, I can't keep on like this. So I thought, I'm going to go through those 4 brain gym activities with them, PACE, which I did. And it took up quite a bit of the lesson to go through it with them.
Yeah.
And I must admit, I didn't handle one particular student very well because she didn't want to do it. And I was in that, you've got to do this.
Yeah.
But hey ho, you learn, don't you? But literally, what was left of the lesson, they got far more done in that short period of time than they had done the whole of the lesson before.
Wow.
They were picking up on my cues, they were listening, and they were going, "Oh, right," and then actually able to do the work themselves. It was just amazing. But unfortunately, I had that one pupil who didn't want to do it, who I said, "No, you got to do it." Her parents were, what do you call them? Governors, school governors.
Yeah.
They complained to the head teacher, "How can you take such, so much time out of a lesson? This is a top set. They got their exams." And the head hauled me in and I just couldn't explain it, which was so frustrating. And he just said, "You're not to do this anymore. You can't take up all this time." And I just didn't seem to get through to him,
Yeah.
the change in them. Anyway, I found a way around it. Yes, you do.
Yeah.
Because the pupils themselves knew the difference that it made.
So they wanted.
They wanted to do it. So I said, right, those of you that don't want to do it, that's fine. They were doing past papers and working on, things that they could get on with. So they got on with their work. Those that wanted to do PACE did PACE. And I actually came to realize that it doesn't matter how many of them do it, because collectively it knocks on, if only a few do it. And so that's what I did. And I actually had some parents who allowed me to do some brain gym balances with their children's sort of different age groups, and the change in them was amazing. And I remember ringing home. There were 5 lads in sort of year 8, year 9, and who caused a lot of trouble in school. And I remember ringing their parents to say how pleased I was because they'd let me do a brain gym balance with them and the change in them. And when I first said who I was, as you can imagine, it was like this. Yeah. Right. You could feel the tension there. What's it done now, And as soon as I said, I just wanted to say how pleased I was, I could feel that tension go and that relief. And just, it was so beautiful. I remember even now how lovely it was to be able to say, well done, and praise their child. And they were like, oh, thank you, And one lady, my mum, she said, well, actually, my son doesn't like coming to school. He dreads it every day, but he puts himself through it. And he actually had a paper round, and she said there was one house that he would always forget. And she said, come to think of it, since you've done that work with him, he hasn't forgotten that house anymore. And
Excellent.
there was another lad who his mum said, well, actually, he was always being told off when he played cricket that his attention was everywhere else. She said, naturally, he's been more attentive with his cricket and his cricket's improved. And,
So why isn't it? So why isn't it taught in? Why isn't it taught on the curriculum part of the school thing?
it's yeah, that's a really good question. It's something that had a moment of time where a lot of people did buy into it and trained in it and taken it to schools, but then we had someone who actually, because it hasn't got proper scientific
Gotcha.
peer review backing, and we were making claims on certain things, it got slammed by this one person. And so it literally it destroyed the name. So we've sort of been working on the founders of Brain Gym who are in the States. They've worked on how to now sort of refer to it differently. So rather
Yeah.
than this is how, you know, it's doing this to your brain or whatever, it's about how the body's moving and sort of functionality, what you know, what you are able to do, and the relaxation or your thinking or looking at getting people to sort of observe it more, you know, themselves.
Yeah.
And it is picking up again, you know, it is, because it is so, for me, I mean, that was nearly 20 years ago that I trained in that, and that has been fundamental to what I do, and I've lived my life by. Although I've trained in a lot of other areas and fields as well, for me, educational kinesiology and brain gym are fundamental to the whole thing. And educational kinesiology is about drawing out learning through movement. So again, it's all about movement, getting people moving rather than sitting still. You know, we tell them in school, sit still, sit up straight,
Yeah.
look at me. And, oh, when I started realizing how switched off I was creating them to be, um, you know, because just maybe they've turned their head and they're looking in a different direction. It's because they want this ear is the ear that listens more intently, or is the leading ear. We used to
Gotcha.
call it the dominant ear, but it's more the leading ear, you know, the one. And so, but you tell them to say, look, sit up straight, face the front. You've immediately switched them off learning, because
Yeah.
that ear isn't the one that's able to do the listening, and the other one just sort of in the background, you know, supporting. Or maybe it's the eye that's wanting to sort of take the lead. So again, and little things like that, I started learning and thinking, oh my goodness, how I switched these kids off over the years. It's amazing how we got the results it did, but things did start to shift. But then, of
Yeah.
course, because I couldn't explain it, and um, I think people got confused. You're a teacher, and now you're trying to do this. You know, what are you? Who are you? And of course, I'm going, I don't know, what am I? Who am I? You know, I'm a maths teacher, but I'm wanting to do this as well. So again, life took its other twists and turns. Ended up going off sick, leaving the school in the end, getting a part-time job in a post-16 college, which actually fed a vision I'd had of going part-time teaching and part-time setting up my business.
Yeah.
You know, and at the time when I was at the school, it was like, well, how can I do? You know how you try and sort it
Yeah.
out in your head, and it goes round and round and round and round, and you try and you try. And then, of course, when I ended up leaving after being ill, it was like, that went. But literally, I saw an advert for this post-16 college post, part-time. I applied for it, had an interview, got the job, boom. And it was all of a sudden I'm going, oh, Oh, this is what I was thinking, part-time teaching.
Yep.
The universe answered. So again, you just never know where it's going to take you. And I taught there for 2 years, and they then they were looking for voluntary redundancy, and I was thinking I needed time to sort of to really focus on setting up my business, even though I really didn't know how to set up a business. I mean, that's a game in itself. You know, I enjoyed what I was doing. I enjoyed the learning of these new modalities, and practicing them, and just having fun with them, making those shifts. But in terms of, well, what is my business about? Who is it I serve? Who are my clients?
Yeah. Lots of
No,
stuff.
I had no idea. But I actually did a brain imbalance on this whole uh, taking that step. And in the beginning, it's like there's this huge chasm, that I was thinking I can't get across there. But once I'd done the brain imbalance, it's like something shifts in your mind. You see it, get a different perspective. And all of a sudden, I just saw all these lily pads just rising up between this side and that other side of the chasm, going,
Yeah.
it's okay. You just got to take one step at a time, and there'll be something there to support you. And I'm going, okay. So I put in um, my note. I put in for the voluntary redundancy. They accepted it, and I went, no, 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 you weren't supposed to say this. I was
Right.
hoping they would say no. So again, yeah. And then, but from there, it just, that was then tough, because it's like having been in a job to then trying to find income.
Yeah.
Um, that's been really tough, because after a while, my house then got repossessed because I wasn't able to keep up the mortgage. For some reason, I wasn't able to get the clients, get the money in that I knew I could get. So hence why I'm now calling this the business of adventure this year. I
Yeah.
want to get to grips with the mystery of creating your own business and really, grab it.
Yeah.
But along the way, because I always hated writing, I hated words. They were an absolute nightmare.
Maths,
And
words. Yeah.
so numbers cooperated. I just love maths. And just recently, I spent a day with my grandchildren, the three younger ones, just doing some maths. And by the end of the day, my heart was singing, and I'm going, oh, it's such fun. And I was thinking I hadn't realised how much I missed, doing maths and just playing around with it, and the joy, and saying, oh, isn't this exciting? Look how easy it is and how logical it is. And a few times they picked up on it, and other times they're going, yes, Nan. Okay. But I was, singing. So,
So it's the
but
writing
yeah,
kind of like.
just, writing. Where did that come from? I just found myself helping people with their writing. Somehow it's that those blocks. It's like, because what I realized was I loved helping people through blocks where they were stuck. And so again, that's where educational kinesiology is, like that movement through learning, through talking with your body. And again, the other modalities I trained in, it's you're talking to the body, you're asking the body what's going on, and then just playing with what presents. So there's that dancing of, what words are they using to describe something, or what's actually happening. Let's play with that, and things then shift. But I actually heard. I remember I was on a boat in San Francisco Bay one year, and I remember saying, that mansion up there on the top of that mountain is going to be mine one day. And it's like, oh yeah, right. 3 or 4 million. And that was probably about 16 years ago. And it's like, yeah, how are you going to get that? And it's like, you're going to write a book. And I was like, what? Me? It was so loud in my head, and it set up that inquiry. What's it going to be about then? And then I found myself doing an English language A level, an advanced level, which is something I thought I was never capable of doing. I never understood how I got my O level, my ordinary level. But I did. I did 2 years of this advanced level English language, and although it was hard work, and each week I'd be asking the same questions about words. What does that mean? What does that mean? I was able to ask the questions to get the answers. I used the tools that I trained in. I used Brain Gym to clear the blocks to keep moving forward, and I passed. I got the intermediate level, the advanced, the AS, and then I got the full A level. I was just like, wow.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
amazing. You know, and you can do that later in life as well, not sort of like when you're a teenager or something.
that's right. Yeah, as I say, that was 15 years ago. So it's probably about, I'd have been in my 50s then. So, yeah, so it's,
So so so
anyway.
so how did it sort of like go? So you started getting people that wanted to wanted to write. How did they start coming to you?
Just by accident, really. It just happened. I had a few people that, um, yeah, there was one lady who she'd bought into writing a chapter for a collective, a collaborative book. You paid to write your own chapter, and it was Johnny Wimbrey was the guy's name who was doing the book. He's an American, and this friend of mine, just somebody that I'd known, and she said, "Oh, could you help me with this?" And I went, "Yeah." So I did, and literally from her a downpouring of ideas and just churning it out, I was able to work with her, and it, it streamlined. It got it more succinct, and the there was something, I don't know. When I read all the others, there's something different about her writing, and she enjoyed the process, and just she got the piece in, and she said actually it was far more helpful, the work that I did with her, than any of the coaching that Sose came with paying for actually getting her chapter in the book. So that happened, and then I just found myself, I don't know, with other people, just helping them with their writing, talking about it, and then I found myself writing. That some key things that happened was that I actually went into my granddaughter, my 15-year-old. She's now, it was when she'd have been 10, 11 in the top primary school. And I went as a grandparent to help out with reading. But I said to them, I want to be able to do some brain gym with the children, which they let me do that. And the change in because it wasn't their ability to read, it was their comprehension that
Right.
they were struggling with. And so I literally it was just a couple of brain gym activities with these pupils, and the shift in their reading, but their comprehension and their ability to understand and retain what they'd understood, what they'd read, just was amazing. And there was one child who because I would get them to use both the left and the right hands, because you've got two sides to your body, two sides to your
Yeah.
brain. And for me, it's about using both sides rather than just the one side, because then all you're doing is just reinforcing one-sidedness. And I said to him, okay, and I want you to use your other hand with the pen. He said, I don't think I know how to hold a pen with my left hand. Oh, mine doesn't matter, just however you want to hold it. And he literally got hold of it like this, the power grip. He couldn't, this was how he held it with
Yeah.
his right hand, and he just, like, that's it, that's fine. So he did what I'd asked him to do with his right hand. And then I did some other bit of brain gym. We did it again, and he was doing this with his hand, but his reading shifted.
Ah.
The how he read, punctuation came into it. You know how someone, you can follow what they're reading it, but they're reading the punctuation as well,
Yeah.
and they're putting emotion in it and meaning. And then he was actually able to say to me about what he'd read, which he couldn't do before. And I only had him that one time. He just happened to fit in at that one particular day. But he taught me something in as much as I needed to go back to the power grip. So I now go back to the basics of handwriting. When we first learned to write and write that, but also the power grip, and bring in some activities to do with that as well, and kicking balls when when I have everybody together and I can do it as a collective
Yeah.
workshop. But I can still do my workshops online in terms of doing activities,
Yeah.
to do with the growth, and it's all about the gross motor skills. So
And
again, watching my own grandchildren has helped me, and I've learned from there. And I've then realised why I was getting so uptight about what they were being asked to do at school, was because that's where I struggled. So I worked on myself, supported them, and that's how I've learnt to unlock the writer within. The beliefs that sprung up, the inner child, going back to the basics. And that's what I find myself working with a lot with people, is that inner child. I go back to, events that happened at school, and even those that are really good at writing, there's always something that happened, and actually they can go to a whole other level, you know. Because yes, I mean, I was top set at school. I was not always top of the top set, but you know, top set of 5 sets. But I never believed I was that good.
yeah.
And now I think, blimey, what could I have done
Yeah. Well, yeah.
if I'd had
If
all of
that's
this training?
if they'd been there then.
Yeah,
Um, and it's good that it actually it's not just children, that it does work on adults.
yes, yeah.
Which is a good thing, because we do think, as we get older, that it's more difficult for us to learn stuff
Mhm.
and everything like that. But the fact that that helps us, because obviously there are a lot of adults that may have been dyslexic, and that when they were younger, and
Mhm.
they've compensated for that over the years. But it's nice to know that there is something that, if they want to, they can actually
Mhm.
expand on their vocabulary, their writing, ideas,
Yeah,
thoughts.
absolutely. I actually ran a meetup for 3 or 4 months at one time, quite a few years ago now. I've still got the meetup group on Meetup, but it's sort of, I haven't done much more with it. But I actually had ran it for, so say, about 4 months each week. I ran a meeting, and I had this one guy. He came most weeks, and he was doing his master's dissertation, and he was dyslexic, and he had his final deadline, and he was so, oh, I've really got to get this done. And he was struggling to get his stuff into a structure. But he did all the activities each week. We did a bit, and literally over that time, he realised he was able to look at everything that he'd got, create his own structure. He got it together. He did it. He got it in on time, and he passed.
Yes.
He was thrilled, and I was thrilled for him. So yes, as you're saying, an older person, it can help just as much. And there was one lady, she only came once, and she'd got her structure. She was, really happy with what she was writing, and she just happened to turn up this one time. But by the end of the evening, she had much more content come out for each, for her structure. So, there's always something that you can dive deeper into.
Yeah.
Um, you can dive into get more into the emotion side of it, and that, for me, what I've realised is that that's where you can then connect with the reader,
Yeah.
because it's getting the emotional aspect there. And what I've now realised is that the people that I'm now working with are those that, yes, if they've got a book to write, but it's more importantly, it's actually their story. And they struggle to write their story because it's that vulnerability, it's that the emotional aspect, and that's where they hold back from. But that's where, me having worked on myself all these years to the depths I have, I can hold that space.
Yeah.
I can take them there, hold that space so that they can write from that place and not be completely taken over by it, but just be present to it and write from it. And the quality of writing that then comes out is absolutely phenomenal.
And
Yeah.
that's absolutely amazing that that you're able to help, to help people do that. So as you know, I do angel oracle cards and also do guided meditation. So each week I like to ask my guests what they would like me to do, whether they'd like me to pull an angel oracle card for themselves and those watching, or do a mini guided meditation. So Carol Ann, what would you like me to do?
A guided mini meditation, I think.
Okay.
Really
Any
is.
particular subject you would be interested in me doing?
I think it's because I actually found last year, even though I got a lot of things together in terms of workshops online and my signature program, but I feel like I got completely washed out. And I think there's a lot of people in that place of being completely washed out, and it's like, what am I doing? Where am I going? What can I do with my business? Have I got the energy to pick up again and continue? And so really I think it's that little mini guided meditation just to reconnect.
Reactivate your life force.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, totally.
Yeah, we can do that. But before we do that, Heather has said, this is really interesting. My son is 8 years old and he's been diagnosed with developmental cooperation disorder, which is dyslexia and dyspraxia, and he struggles at school with writing and numbers.
Yeah.
And that, so I take it that's something that the work you do would can
It can
actually
help.
help.
Yes. Yeah. And I think this is where I had this pull for many years. It's like I'm a teacher and I love to help, the children and younger ones, but I kept being pulled to adults and knowing that I'm then working with the inner child. But somewhere I feel that there's something else emerging here. And I've actually realized that through working with handwriting, working with the writer within, that there's something knocks on with the maths as well. Because there comes a point with maths whereby even the most able student in maths struggles with the written problems because they can't pull out what they're being, all the information they're being given to then know what to do with it. If you said, right, these numbers, do this and this with it, boom. But when it's in a worded problem, that is where so many fall down. The less able, the more able, in many ways. And so this is what I realized actually. The writing is key to being able to support the maths, because that's my ultimate goal is for everybody to love maths. That's what
Yeah.
I really want.
Okay.
That's what I stepped out of teaching for to come back in. And I'm going, but I'm doing this with writing. Why? I know starting to get it, but I'd really love to somehow see how am I going to pull this together. Yeah, but also support parents who've got children like this, because I know as a parent what it's like
Yeah.
to not be able to do anything. So I want some guidance as to how can I bring all this together to support.
Okay. Well, that might find out, and it might be that if you and Heather chat, you might be able to work out something that might actually help you and help Heather's son at,
Yeah,
at, at the same time. So you might be able to come up with something to get together that actually that can actually go on and help um, other children as well.
yeah.
So whilst
Okay.
we've got all that thinking, okay, Carol Ann, if you and Heather and everyone else who's watching want to
Mm,
close your eyes,
mm.
and as you do so, take a deep breath in, and on the out breath, just release everything that doesn't need to be in this space at this time. Take another deep breath in, and on the out breath, just release everything that doesn't need to be in this space. And just think about relaxing. Think about relaxing your whole body from the top of your head to the tips of your toes and all the way down to your fingertips. For as you think about relaxing, so you will relax. So just allow the top of your head to start to relax, and allow this relaxation to move down into your forehead, the back of your head, your temples, your eyes, your ears, your nose, your cheeks, your mouth and your jaw, and your whole head totally relaxing. As this relaxation moves down into your neck and you feel all your neck muscles start to relax. And this relaxation moves down into your shoulders, your upper arms, your elbows, your lower arms, your wrists, your hands and your fingers, feeling so relaxed. And this relaxation moves into your upper body and you feel your chest muscles relax, your stomach muscles, the whole of your back, your spine relaxing vertebrae by vertebrae by vertebrae. As that relaxation moves down into your hips, your buttocks, your pelvis, all the way down into your thighs, your knees, your calves, your shins, your ankles, your feet and your toes. And you feel so beautifully relaxed. And as you're relaxing, you feel like you are floating. You feel like you are floating on beautiful water, beautiful cleansing water. And you just float there. And it feels so good just floating in this water. And it's not cold and it's not hot, it's just right. And it may be in a forest or a field, on a beach, just this beautiful water that you're floating in, this water that's just washing over and cleansing you of everything that seems to have been drained and stagnated within you. And it's just all being gently soaked away, being cleansed. It's like you're being purified from the outside in and from the inside out. And as you're floating there, you can feel the warmth of the sun start to beat down on your body. It's not too hot, it's just pleasant with this beautiful sunlight. And you feel this sunlight moving into your body, feeling you physically, mentally, and emotionally. This beautiful, positive energy of warmth, new life, just going into you, feeling every single cell, every membrane, every being, every essence of you, just being filled with this beautiful warm sunshine. And you can feel your energy start to renew, starts to renew inside you. Maybe it starts in a particular part of your body, but it just starts to grow and expand. Just expand, filling your whole body. And you feel like you're vibrating with a new life force. A new life force that is making everything so much clearer for you. And you can feel new ideas, new thoughts, new energies just flowing into you. And it just feels so wonderful to feel this vibrant, this so much life force energy within you, and all these creative ideas and thoughts just building inside you, getting clearer and clearer on what you need to do, how you need to do it, giving you the energy to do it, the connection to do it. And it's just so amazing. You feel so bright and alive, like you are this sunshine bursting full of energy and life. And I'll just leave you for a moment to soak in this energy, feel it really deeply, and allow those thoughts and ideas to come into you. And now, in a moment, I'm going to count back from 1 to 5. And by the time I get to 5, you'll be back fully present. You'll remember that beautiful warm energy inside you. You will bring back that vibrant life force, all those ideas, those thoughts, ready to start creating them. So coming back now, 1, 2, fully back into your body. 3, remembering all this energy, feeling this energy, bring it back with you. 4, start to wiggle fingers and toes, make sure you're fully back. 5, open your eyes, fully back, fully present, fully in the here and now. And welcome back.
Thank you. Oh.
So how was that? How are you feeling?
Um, very aware of the question that's always been in the background. That I think is the key question for me to answer this year. But very relaxed. Just love that floating and yeah, just okay, okay.
Yeah, brilliant.
Everything's
Brilliant.
gonna be sorted. Yeah, it just like I'm supported.
Yeah.
I was floating. I'm supported. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was beautiful. Thank you.
You're welcome. And Heather says that was lovely. Thank you, Heather.
Mm,
I hope it's given you as
mm,
much energy and maybe some thoughts and ideas that you can now
mm.
answer, which will be absolutely brilliant to actually move on with things. So, Carol Ann, do you have any insights or thoughts to leave our viewers?
Um, I think, yeah, don't get fixated on you have to solve it yourself and that there's only one way of solving a problem. Just breathe into it and allow other ways, no matter how bizarre they may seem, to open up and and be willing and open to just give it a go and see what happens. Because you never know where it'll take you. You really don't.
No, who knew? From maths teacher to helping people writing. That's absolutely brilliant advice. So, everyone, I hope you enjoyed this and found it insightful. And the words of wisdom that Carol Ann has given you will help you further on your journey. So, Carol Ann, if people want to connect with you, how do they do that?
Um, I think the best place is on LinkedIn. Um, so it's LinkedIn on Carol Ann Cooper on there. Um, do you want? Have you got the link, or do you want?
I've got the link, and I've also got your Facebook link. So what I can do is I'll post those in the comments so people can just click straight onto them and
Okay,
go straight and find you and actually connect with you.
yeah. So I think
So
that the LinkedIn one is probably the best because it explains on there, and then I've got details of my Facebook page and my Facebook group in there as well. So
cool. Yeah, well,
yeah,
I'll put the
yes,
link. I'll put the LinkedIn one
yeah,
on there. So,
brilliant.
thank you, Carol Ann, and thank you to all those watching. And of course, if you have reached that crossroads in your life and you need help finding your destiny and getting clear on your path, then I would love to be that guide for you. Please feel free to reach out and connect with me, and we can arrange a free 20-30 minute video call to talk about how I can help you on your journey, and you take charge of your destiny. And of course, still got my Angel Wings membership community, where you get a chance to grow with ascended masters, archangels, gods, goddesses, oracle cards, other members of the group to spread your wings and soar. And of course, my weekly newsletter, if you sign up to that, you get a free guided meditation to de-stress and various other items on there. And a quick plug that on Sunday the 10th at 8:30 p.m. I am going to be on the Feminine Frequency Festival 2021. It runs over from the 6th to the 12th. Over 500 women, and I'm going to be at 8:30 on Sunday the 10th. I'm going to be presenting my little part, which is Take Charge of Your Destiny, where you will actually get a chance to connect with your higher self or guardian angel, whichever one is going to be easy for you to connect with, to actually find out what you need to do to take charge of your destiny. So do check that out. And thank you so much for watching. And I'd like to invite you to share this video, as I'm sure there are more women who feel lost and want to get clear on their destiny just like you. And of course, if you're watching this on YouTube, please do subscribe to my channel and hit the bell to be notified of when the show goes live every week, and everything else I post, including future life and guided meditations, Angelic Reiki. So I look forward to you all joining me same time, same place next week. Thank you, Carol Ann. It's been brilliant having you on. I've loved it. Thank you, Heather, and everyone else who's been watching. And I'll speak to you all soon. Bye.